shelter in place within a mile radius, and I'm going to keep that in effect until I hear otherwise from the EPA.
We are continuing to follow developing news out of Sheboygan County tonight. Fire departments have been battling a massive fire that has been burning at the tissue depot in Sheboygan for more than 5 hours. 9 and 10's Caitlin Davis and photojournalist Caleb Vinton are live at the scene and bring us the latest on this developing situation. Caitlin.
Hey, Christina, as you can see behind me, the fire is still burning as police and fire departments from multiple counties are working to put this fire out. And officials say it could take up to days until the fire is completely out. And as you can see, I am wearing a face mask to protect myself from any potentially toxic fumes that are being released into the air from this fire, which prompted a shelter-in-place order earlier in Sheboygan County. And the cause of the fire is unknown as of now, and nobody was inside of the building at the time of the fire, and no injuries have been reported at this time. There is a large emergency response, and several roads have been closed, and many others are blocked with police tape. Officials also had to close down multiple businesses and evacuate people from buildings. Firefighters are being rotated out as their oxygen tanks run out. And fire departments are filling up water from Sheboygan River and taking water back onto the scene to put these fires out. The heavy machinery that you can see behind me is used to pick up debris that is still on fire, and that they could use the water to put out that flame. Officials from the Sheboygan County say this could take days before all the hot spots are put out, and it's going to take at least a few hours to get the rest of this fire out. The police chief for the city of Sheboygan says that they are sourcing residents from their homes.
We'll escort them back to their homes. We don't want to have any vehicles. The structure is still, we don't have any engineering on the structure, so we're worried about any of that happening, something falling down. So we certainly want to escort people, and we aren't going to have vehicles on Huron Street or Main Street for a while.
Officials say they will be out here for at least a few more hours to contain this fire, and they will be back on scene tomorrow to continue to put these hot spots out. Live in Sheboygan County, Caitlin Davis, 9 and 10 News.
They were going to bring terrorism here to Antrim County.
Closing arguments have wrapped up, and the jury has started deliberations in the final trial in the plot to kidnap the governor. Defendants William Knoll and Eric Molitor took the stand in the final days of the trial, hoping to convince a jury of their peers that they weren't fully aware they were helping the plot leaders. Michael Knoll declined to testify. In the state's closing arguments, they pointed to evidence that they say proves the defendants, Eric Molitor and brothers William and Michael Knoll, helped plot leaders Adam Fox and Barry Croft plan a terrorist attack. 9 and 10's Zachariah Wheaton is standing by live at the Antrim County Courthouse where he heard today's closing arguments. Zach.
Yeah, Christina, the state began their closing arguments saying Eric Molitor and William Knoll lied to the jury during their testimony, while the defense, they called out the FBI and the state, saying that they actually they misrepresented evidence in order to convict innocent men. Now, the defense says the state did not prove the defendants had intent, saying their presence alone does not mean they provided material support. Molitor's defense said Molitor never took the oath to join the group and pointed to a message of Fox saying Molitor wasn't down for anything extreme. Defense attorneys for the Knoll brothers say the brothers were left out of a number of key meetings and weren't included in the operators group chat. They also pointed out the lack of evidence of what exactly the Knoll brothers did to help during the nighttime surveillance. The prosecution followed up telling the jury the Knoll brothers actually had the most in-person contact with Fox and Croft than any other subjects in the case, and pointed to the audio of the ride up to the nighttime surveillance where he said he was up to do recon, despite testifying he didn't know about the plot at the time. The state also doubted Molitor's testimony when he said he was scared of the plot, pointing to him providing his radio frequency detector to Fox and his attempt to recruit more people after finding out about the plan during the daytime surveillance.
All the defendants here hated our government. This gets back to motive. And all the defendants here hated police officers. They thought police officers were the enemy, and they were willing to go to war with them.
But Mr. Molitor was, at one point, behind Adam Fox. There's nothing that says he's talking anything crazy in June. He's 100% behind it. His ideology, his thinking, that It's okay to be prepared, to be a prepper, to be organized in case something happens.
The day ended following the state's redirect as jury deliberations will begin tomorrow. Reporting live in Antrim County, I'm Zachariah Wheaton, 9 and 10 News.
Okay, Zachariah, thank you so much. Well, new information is coming in about the man who was arrested after a shootout with the police in Chippewa County. We have learned that he is in the hospital in critical condition. The man was arrested last Thursday. Troopers say when they arrived, the 39-year-old from Florida started shooting at them, so they fired back. Troopers had been looking for the man after they say he lit multiple cruisers on fire at the Sault Ste. Marie State Police Post, then fired at the cars with a rifle. No one other than the man was hurt in any of the incidents. In Petoskey, police are receiving numerous complaints of vandalism throughout the city. Take a look at some of the pictures released today by the Petoskey Department of Public Safety. They're still trying to figure out who is vandalizing the city, and they warn that the department and the city of Petoskey take the destruction of property very seriously. Police ask anyone who has information on who may have done this to give them a call. In Traverse City, an 85-year-old Kalkaska County man is in the hospital after being hit by a car. It happened on 3 Mile Road in Parsons. The Grand Traverse County Sheriff's Office says a man from Antrim County was driving north when he hit the 85-year-old pedestrian who was trying to cross the road. The man was seriously hurt. The Grand Traverse County Sheriff's Office is investigating the crash. In Kingsley, a school bus driver is being called a hero today for his quick actions during a head-on crash with a Mercedes. The crash was reported around 7:30 this morning on M113 near Knight Road in Paradise Township during the busy morning rush hour. 9 and 10's Jody Meeson has more details on this scary situation. Jody?
Christina, 18 students, elementary, middle school, and high school students were all aboard that bus when that crash happened. But thanks to the actions of that bus driver, no one was hurt.
They weren't even half full yet. I believe that bus has about 50 kids on it, and they were only at 18, so they hadn't even finished barely a third of the route.
The interim superintendent of Kingsley area schools, Jason Stowe, says that the school bus was on its normal route, picking students up when the crash happened, seemingly out of nowhere.
The car was coming at them and crossed the line. He was able to be alert, honk the horn. Whether the driver was asleep or not, I'm not sure. But he honked the horn and went slightly to the right, so he was able to avoid a head-on collision. The Kingsley bus driver is not being identified right now, but Stowe says he's a hero all the same. His quick thinking potentially saved lives today. The fact that he honked the horn and saw it coming and was able to swerve a little bit to the right to avoid the collision. I don't think we give our bus drivers enough credit for what they do. Sergeant Raska from the sheriff's office says the driver of the Mercedes-Benz, a Blair Township man, had admitted to deputies that he had fallen asleep and his Mercedes was heavily damaged.
It had a lot of damage, and it collided with 2 large vehicles. The school bus driver did a great job trying to avoid it by moving towards the right side of the roadway. The box truck that was traveling behind the school bus also tried to avoid the vehicle, but he did his best, and they still collided. The 26-foot box truck was driven by a Mesick man. There was already another bus en route to pick the kids up. The road had to be shut down for a brief time. Just because of the debris, and one of the vehicles was disabled in the lane. The students were taken to school and parents were notified of the crash. Stowe says this is the most serious crash he can recall during his time being a superintendent. His alertness and making sure that he took his job seriously, I think it saved lives today. Considering with the speeds that were involved and the fact that there was big vehicles involved, no injuries was surprisingly, it turned out well.
The driver of that Mercedes was ticketed for that incident and then released, but was later arrested on unrelated charges. Live in the newsroom, Jody Meeson, 9 and 10 News.
We've been clear and we've been firm and timely in what we expect out of these negotiations.
With one full day before a UAW strike is set to start, we're beginning to get a clearer picture on how it could all go down. Right now, it appears that strikes will begin at smaller factories that employ less workers, such as parts plants. Strikes starting at those small plants would cost the union less money and put pressure on larger plants by cutting the supply chain. The union will pay every striking worker $500 a week until the strike is over. If all 100 146,000 members went on strike at once, it would drain the union's strike fund in 3 months. However, there's still time to avoid the strike entirely. UAW President Shawn Fain standing firm today, saying that's the outcome he's hoping for.
And again, I want to be clear. Our goal is not to strike. Our goal is to reach a fair agreement. But if the companies continue to bargain in bad faith, or continue to stall, or continue to give us insulting offers, then our strike's going to continue to grow.
Talks are still going on, but it seems that all parties are trying to bridge a wide gap. If the union strikes against all 3 of Detroit's big 3 at once, it would be the first time in history. It's Suicide Prevention Week, and one local veterans group is inviting retired members of the armed forces to fish the salmon run and raise money for the cause. If you're interested, there's still plenty of time to register. 22 to None is a nonprofit aimed at bringing awareness and prevention of veteran suicide. It is hosting the event this weekend at the Elmwood Marina. They say 22 veterans die by suicide every day. Vets will have the opportunity to travel by boat out on the water of the Traverse City West Bay Marina and try to catch some fish from 2 to 6 on the 17th. Drea Aquino, the Outdoor Venture Program Coordinator for 22 to None, says there's no need to bring anything but yourself. They will supply the rest. Aquino, a veteran himself, says the 22 to None board members are made up of veterans, so they understand the importance of giving back.
Veteran suicide is an epidemic. We care about, our veterans, and we really appreciate what they did for us, and we want to serve back.
Veterans have until the 15th to sign up for this weekend's event. You must be pre-registered. For more information, hop on to 9and10news.com. Well, AI is quickly advancing, and CMU is hoping to prepare its students for a world full of AI tools. Coming up on Northern Michigan's News Leader, how those tools can be used inside the classroom. And later,
it's in mint condition. It was the #1 engine for the Charter Township of Lansing.
Find out which small Northern Michigan fire department this big red engine is headed to.
And right now we have lots of sunshine. There's a little breeze going on, but we have the cool air building in. And that means some chilly temperatures by morning. I'll have the details when we get back. Well, I said the sunshine was coming, and how about this evening? Old Mission Peninsula, Chateau Chantel, the view is gorgeous right now. Oh, that bright sunshine looking great. Higgins Lake, a little more deeper blue here from the Garrish Township Community Park Marina. No problems whatsoever. The winds have let off for the most part. And our last view here in the UP, Sault Ste. Marie, just a few of those very high, thin clouds. That's all you're finding out there right now. Here's the problem. It's a cold atmosphere. We have the fairly clear skies, a little breeze right now, but that'll calm down. So these areas you see in blue, that's where we have a frost advisory in effect for tonight. You got to cover or bring in those sensitive plants, get some vegetable plants out there, maybe some tomato plants perhaps, or some hanging baskets. Yeah, bring them inside. The garage should be just fine, or in the house if you have to, or cover them up because potential is up there for frost. Best chances, Cadillac, Grayling, Mile, those typical colder areas here, as well as in parts of the UP. Right now, you've got the upper 50s and 60s going on, and actual air temperatures here in Charlevoix, right now 61. Winds are light at 7 there, but they'll drop off later on. So we're expecting what we call radiational cooling. These are like perfect conditions, clear skies, light winds. Sometimes you get a little bit of cloud cover, helps trap in the heat, makes a big difference. Or you get a little breeze, that wind helps to mix up the atmosphere. But tonight, for most of you, very clear, little wind, and thus the heat in the ground quickly escapes back up in the atmosphere. As the skies out there tonight, fairly clear and quiet, obviously not much going on. That is 7 a.m. Thursday, some patchy clouds, but otherwise a lot of sunshine. By noon, more sunshine, not much of a problem going on. And by 5 p.m., more sunshine than clouds. Overnight, winds shift a little bit, so won't be quite as cold as tonight. That's some good news, and then we warm things up a whole lot more later on Friday. So how about the satellite picture? What's going on with the lead right here? Going pretty strong. Again, overall weakening, but there's still a solid eye at this point. Wind speeds 105 miles per hour down to Category 2 hurricane. And the overall track continues moving north right now down to hurricane Category 1 and making landfall likely as Category 1 out towards Maine and Nova Scotia later on Saturday and on to the weekend. So be aware, that's a big concern, especially as it moves on shore later on this weekend. But tonight, just be aware, some patchy frost developing. Low temperatures, mid-30s, mid-40s. Again, the bigger concern for the frost is inland areas. Lakeside, that lake makes a big difference this time of year. Lows 40s and 30s across the central lower counties. As for tomorrow, mostly sunny. High temperatures, middle and upper 60s. Some decent warmth with that sunshine. A little bit of a breeze, but not bad at all at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And here, the central lower, your high temperatures, upper 60s and 70 right there out towards the western spots. So got a little warmth on Friday, a little more warmth with a few more clouds, but dry skies. For the weekend, partly cloudy skies and isolated rain showers.
Okay, Tom, thank you so much. A professor at CMU is exploring how to use AI tools in class. We'll have the details next. Artificial intelligence is quickly advancing. Some people might fear it, while others are embracing the change in technology. 9 and 10's Meredith St. Henry explains how Central Michigan University is finding ways to use it in the classroom.
We need to teach our students how to use it in productive ways.
Troy Hicks, an English and education professor at Central Michigan University, is working with K-12 teachers and education majors on how they can implement AI in their classrooms.
I have some hesitations, but when I first heard about the idea, I was really excited because I figured there's no way this is going away.
Hicks says AI writing tools can be helpful for lesson planning.
You're just struggling for ideas, you could use one of the AI tools to generate some ideas. Put the standards in there, put in a couple keywords, talk about the grade level and what you're trying to accomplish, and then see what it gets back to you. Now, that may get you started, but it's probably not going to create the greatest lesson plan. You're still going to have to augment that with different websites, videos, handouts, other creative ways to engage your students in your classroom.
Sometimes lesson planning is the hardest part of the thing of teaching, and so taking that out and putting my own words in and changing it around so it works, because every single class is different. With each student it's different, and so having some of that taken off my plate so I can more easily personalize it to each student would be really great.
He also says AI can help when communicating with students and parents, like filling out report cards.
The basic information they'll fill in on a report card in the narrative section as they're describing what students do. The AI could help them get that started and provide some of that generic stuff, and then teachers could go in and spend their time adding the real specific and nuanced details about that student.
Very excited that we are learning about AI before, we go out into our own classrooms, because we might be able to bring this into our district and bring this up and stuff like that, because maybe they're not sure what this is yet, and we can be the advocates for AI in our districts.
In Mount Pleasant, Meredith St. Henry, 9 and 10 News.
A small northern Michigan fire department is receiving a big donation. Where the engine is headed and where it came from, next. A small Chippewa County Volunteer Fire Department is getting a special delivery this evening. The Rayburn Township Volunteer Fire Department is located between Pickford and Detour and covers 125 square miles. The department has 15 firefighters. They are getting a new fire truck that is actually a combined tanker and pumper. It's the type that is the first one on the scene of a fire. This truck is 35 years old but was taken care of by the previous owner. The fire chief says the best thing about this truck is that it was donated to them.
This truck to purchase brand new would be probably $700,000. There's no way we would ever do that. The more equipment we have on the road to get to a fire, the better off we are to protect this community.
That's one heck of a donation. Wowza. We will have a look at the new fire truck tonight on 9 and 10 News at 11. Well, it's a celebration of all things maritime culture this weekend in Leelanau. More on the annual festival next on 9 and 10 News at 6. The Leelanau Historical Society will be hosting the annual Maritime History Festival on Saturday. Different organizations will represent maritime history and offer live exhibits. The second annual History Festival will be making its return with free admission to the museum. Have you heard of this, Tom? Have you been to this before?
No, I haven't.
Well, people who will attend, it's free. They'll be able to explore exhibits and learn from National Lakeshore, Sleeping Bear Dunes, Leelanau Clean Water, and other organizations. The Leelanau Historical Society says the festival will encourage history appreciation. I can see that. If you want more information on it, go ahead and jump on 910news.com.
And of course, the weekend weather has, well, some clouds, some showers. But you want some sunshine, enjoy tomorrow and much of Friday. Looks to be pretty good. The warmth is out there for a couple days. We get a break for early next week, but right now, good optimism towards next Wednesday.
Gosh, that all looks beautiful to me, even with the scattered showers on the weekend. You said it's not going to be a lot, right?
Not crazy. Looks okay.
And then I saw the temperature low going into Thursday went from 37 to 38.
I know. Better.
Big deal. Okay, thank you so much, and thank you. CBS Evening News is next.